It's time for the Victoria University 60-second seminar.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it away.
Okay, so I'm Kate McGrath and I'm a professor in chemistry. We're interested in how biological organisms grow their hard tissue, so things like bones and teeth and things. So not from the perspective of, what do you do in a biological system, but to try and recreate biological-like materials synthetically so that they might be able to be used in implant materials for both hard tissue and soft tissue. So essentially just think about taking a sugar gel and mineralising it and we get our fake bone.
Whoa. Whoa. So what kind of applications would that have?
So essentially, you think about anybody who's got disease-based reduction of teeth or bones or has been in an accident. So what we're hoping to be able to do is actually start to generate materials that can be implanted into people.
Wow. And how did you sort of get involved to this stage and doing this research?
So I guess my background has been always trying to apply physical techniques to understanding biological systems, and things like bones and teeth are amazing. They're really complex. They, have this cool combination of organic components and inorganic mineral components, and how those two work together is really interesting. So it all came from there, really, and it seemed like there was a great outlet of, helping people, so all good.
Yeah, because so much of academia is it doesn't really have sort of as many real-world applications, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, this one's quite, from a chemical point of view, it's kind of scary because you've got to go into, animal trials and eventually human trials and all that kind of thing. So, speaking from the perspective of a chemist slash physicist, all that biological stuff is kind of like, well, pretty daunting. But it'd be awesome if, things that we made and created could actually be used in people and help them. So seems like a pretty good thing to do.
I suppose it's a lot longer process in terms of ethics approval and...
Oh, gosh, yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Much longer due process.
Yeah, we're at the point now where we're starting to do, testing on biological-like systems, in petri dishes with cells and things like that. That's quite a long way from even going into an animal and then, eventually into a human. So, realistically... getting that approval, that full ethics and FDA approval is, 10 or 15 years away, even if you had a product, right now. So it's very long term. But, if you could even start to help, 1% of the world's population, that's a pretty awesome goal to be able to work towards.
That is definitely an awesome, yeah. What's sort of your academic history? How did you sort of come to be researching at Victoria University?
So I guess I started doing an undergrad in chemistry and physics, and from that I did a PhD. Then, like all of us good New Zealanders, I went overseas and I lived in France and I lived in America, and then I came back to New Zealand, and I started work at Otago first and then moved up here to Vic about 8 years ago. So went out and saw the world, came home.
And why did you choose Victoria University in Wellington?
Oh, gosh, well, I guess the main reason is because Vic is getting really good at science. It's really put in a huge effort into building up science here over the last decade. And the late Sir Paul Callaghan and I used to collaborate together, and so he moved to Vic and then persuaded me to move to Vic. So it was all a good move, really.
Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely a brilliant mind.
He was awesome, totally inspirational, and he really loved working with people at all levels of their career. So from first years on up to people that were also professors, and he just liked to be able to engage with people and make them realise that they could make a difference.
And why did you choose to go down the sort of the science line and
as opposed to sociology?
Well, I'm going to admit I'm not the most apt scientist.
I guess for me, it combined the ability to really understand things at a fundamental level and then to apply them for the greater good. And that's pretty seductive, I'd have to say. To think that what you can do has the capacity to affect and change people is a pretty huge seductive draw card.
Yeah, that definitely is. That's probably a good point to leave it on. That's really awesome. Thank you so much for
No problem.
coming on today.
You've been listening to the Victoria University 60-second seminar every Wednesday morning at 9:30 a.m. only on the BBC.